Happy Monday, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Prepare to Repair Show. I am your host, Plumber Steve, with RJ Graham Plumbing. I hope everybody had a good weekend. I know we got a lot of rain dumped on us yesterday, so hopefully everybody was able to stay dry. I know I ran into a couple of incidents, especially one in particular where they just got a ton of water, 10 inches of water in their basement, and it was not pretty, but we were able to help them out. But so hopefully everybody didn't have that experience, and they were able to just weather the storm, and their sump pumps and everything in their drains were keeping up. So that's pretty awesome. Today, on today's show, I want to welcome Dave Hanley with DH Imaging Group. Dave is a good buddy of mine, and he helps with a lot of our marketing and production of all of our stuff you see on Facebook, social media, and stuff like that.
Hi, Steve. How are you? Good to be here.
Good to see you. Also, I want to tell everybody that, as always, the Prepare to Repair Show is presented by Ferguson Supply, Kitchen, Bath, and Lighting Showroom, located at 7950 West 185th Street in Tinley Park. Whether you're doing a minor facelift or a full kitchen and bath remodel, Ferguson has you covered. And also, be sure to check out the Cruise Night in Frankfurt, which runs every Monday from now and through September 26th in downtown Frankfurt. All cruise nights are subject to weather, and while you're down there, check out some of the nice shops and restaurant in beautiful downtown Frankfurt.
I love downtown Frankfurt.
Oh yeah, it's an awesome place to be.
What's that? Fat Rosie's? Is that what's down there?
Yeah, you got
delicious.
And then you have what else is the other one? Francesca's that's down there.
Well, that's a little fancy for me, Steve.
Well, they're owned by the same people, but
really?
Yeah, I believe so. And then you've got Cup of Joe's down there.
What about that cool bar, Old Plank Trail Bar? Is it the Old Plank Bar?
I don't know. I don't drink.
Great bar. There's a great bar right in downtown.
Okay, I don't drink, buddy. But anyway, you were before we went on the air. And speaking of Ferguson, you were talking about the bathroom remodel that you did.
I just finished a bathroom remodel in my house.
Okay.
I did it myself, except for some plumbing. I had a friend of mine stop by to make sure that I didn't ruin my drains, but everything was fine. Very minor stuff. I stopped, after listening to the show and learning a little bit about Ferguson and watching some of the videos, I decided that I was going to stop in there to look at what they had for faucets.
Okay.
And I fell in love with. I was looking for a black faucet.
That's a real popular.
It is
model and color right now.
Mm-hmm. And it's a matte black. And
again, another one of the most popular.
I couldn't help it.
colors.
You see all. When you start looking online for ideas and stuff like that. It's what I was into. So I stopped in Ferguson, and I had even for just buying a faucet, mm-hmm. I had a personal representative that worked with me the entire time. I don't remember her name off the top of my head, but she was great. She started an online store for me, essentially, where she and I picked out a bunch of faucets. Then I could do some research on my own, and et cetera, et cetera. And picked one out, brought it home, and it was the wrong size. And that was my mistake. It was too tall for underneath my new vanity mirror that I put in.
Oh, okay.
So
that is a good point. I mean, that you're not wrong on that one, not to cut you off, but just to touch on that is when you're buying fixtures, you have to account for the surroundings around it, because not only does it happen like having the neck too tall on a particular faucet for, say, a vanity mirror that you would have, but also with kitchens, on kitchen faucets, the type of faucets you get, whether that handle goes to the back, rotates back a little bit further, it might hit your backsplash depending on where your faucet is mounted. Mm-hmm. So keeping those little things in mind could save you, like what you had to go through.
Yeah, as a do-it-yourselfer, I didn't have a full detailed, CAD drawing and all these things of how everything was going to fit together. It was like piece by piece. I got a vanity, and then I got a vanity top, and then I put the mirror in, and then I go to test fit my faucet that I had for weeks because Ferguson had it the next day after I ordered it, which is great. In fact, I think they delivered it to my house, which is great. I think they shipped it to my house.
Really?
Yeah.
That's sweet.
It was great. And
well, that's
so
the world we live in right now. We live in an Amazon world.
Yeah, I shopped in person, and I ordered it, and then a day or two later, it was in my house. So it sat in a box for like a month while I was doing my bathroom, and when I was finally putting all the pieces together, it was like an 1/8 inch too tall. So I called up my rep.
So did you cut the vanity top? Just put a nice little notch on it?
I thought about it.
Seriously, no.
So, I brought it back, and they exchanged it, no questions asked. And so I needed a different faucet now. Now I needed a much nicer faucet because it wasn't the standard height anymore.
There's that uncle, right? Just take an 1/8 inch off the bottom of that little vanity mirror there. You won't even know it.
Just cut the vanity down a little bit with the feet.
It has a notch so when it opens.
Cut the mirror. That's what I probably should have done.
No, you shouldn't have. No. That's that uncle that you don't want coming over. Right. He's the reason why you took it on yourself and did not call him.
Exactly.
You know that family member, right?
Oh, yeah. He's the same uncle that picks everything apart after you did it.
Exactly.
So I exchanged it. I returned the faucet, and then the new faucet that I needed had to be not only a nice faucet, but it had to be a really nice faucet because of the size of it.
So your options were limited.
My options were very limited, but they had like 10 different ones to choose from, and I love it. I actually get compliments on it. I never thought when becoming an adult is when someone compliments the faucet in your bathroom and you get very excited about it. That's what adulthood is about.
I think the credits are rolling on life at that point.
Exactly. Yeah. I'm at the end. It might not get better than this, Steve.
That's it. It's over. But it's in all joking aside, when you do a specific remodel or renovation, or even if you just do a makeover in your house, I mean, you watch a lot of these interior designers. They're very good at what they do. They do focal points, and they'll use certain things in your living room and using furniture and designs to be a focal point, to take your eye to a certain point of whatever architecturally you have in the space that is going to be something that they work off of. And when you do a remodel, and even if it's a smaller bathroom, and it's a standard bathroom, I mean, you can give it the pop, like you said.
Oh, yeah.
The faucet right there gave you the whoa. Right when you walk through the door, it gave you that wow factor. And we were talking about it off the air with if you have a master bath remodel and you do say you do a shower and you have a standalone tub, that right there, if that's the first thing that catches your eye, you want to make sure that tub is going to really pop. It's going to wow. The chrome has to shine. It's got to shine better than the bumper of a 57 Chevy.
Mm-hmm. Well, is that possible?
It is. You can.
From a plumber's perspective?
Yes.
Absolutely, it's possible.
You want to make it where it looks it wows you. Mm-hmm. And because this stuff it's not cheap, and you're putting in that effort and you're spending that money to give that wow factor, and it is your home.
Plus, it's if your home's going to be your home for a long time. So if you're going to be living there for 20 years or something like that, you don't want to be remastering a bathroom, redoing a bathroom multiple times. You only want to do it once.
That was the goodest comment I've ever heard.
I appreciate that.
You speak the bestest English.
I probably got D's in English class in college my whole time.
There you go.
Sorry, Dad.
Well,
I'm here, aren't I?
We did the best we could.
That's right.
So, yeah, I had a teacher who made me basically, she bribed me to get to do an English literature class. She bribed me to do a sonnet.
Really?
Yes. You know what a sonnet is? In Shakespeare,
that's a poem, right?
Yeah, it's similar to a poem. It's in Shakespeare. We were doing I'm not sure, was it Shakespeare? Yeah, it was it was it's Shakespeare.
It's called Shakespeare.
Yeah. And I was like, I didn't want to do it. Well, at the time,
no, when you're 14, 15 years old at this time?
I was in junior in high school at this time.
Okay. So 17?
Yeah, and I was like, well, let's rewind back. Mm-hmm. The story is I was watching, I don't know if I told this story here on the air before, but I'm a huge Bear fan. Okay.
And now, the Chicago Bears or the animal?
Yeah, Chicago Bears.
Okay.
Chicago Bears.
It's going to be a rough season
Exactly.
for you.
Yeah. Well, you know what? You live and die with them, right?
True.
So, and it was right around January. Well, she was putting up the board for February, and it was Black History Month, and you had famous, famous people that were on there, and I was like, one of them was Walter Payton.
Excellent.
And I said, "Can I have that when you take the board down?" And she said, "Sure." I'm watching this. I'm looking at all the people on there, and I'm watching. It's like, okay, I want that Walter Payton. Honestly, Walter Payton, number one. Right up there next to everybody I hold dear.
I think that's fair. I think it's well earned.
You can say whatever you want about Walter Payton. All you're going to hear is me with my fingers in my ears going la 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 la.
I don't think anyone ever said anything bad about Walter Payton. Well, and if they did, they're wrong.
Exactly. There was a book that came out and they tried to. That man, no. You don't say anything bad about Wally.
Don't talk about Walter.
No. That's sacrilege.
I think in Chicago, it's definitely not allowed.
Yeah, sacrilege. So anyway, Walter Payton. So
you're writing the sonnet?
No, I'm not. That's the problem. I didn't do it. So it's like, here we come right around March, and she's pulling the board down, and I asked for my picture. She goes, "Yeah, you can have it." She goes, "But you didn't write a sonnet." I'm like, "Yeah, I know." I go, "I don't want to do it." And she goes, "Well, if you want the picture, you're going to have to write a sonnet." I go, "That wasn't the deal." She goes, "It is now."
Ooh, I like when people change mid.
Yes. Yeah. I'm like, "No." I go, "That's not fair." She goes, "I don't care. You want the sonnet?"
That's great.
And it was my last period. It was like, because I think I got out like 1:30, and I go, "Well, can I get it, and then I'll just write it at home and and
yeah, like she trusts you. You didn't even
no.
turn in your sonnet homework in the first place.
I didn't do it in the first place. She goes, "Well, I got a free period now. We could do it, and this is your last one."
She wanted you to write it right there in front of her with her?
Oh yeah. She had papers to grade, and I was the only one in the class. She goes, "You can do it." I'm like, "Oh, that's wrong."
Yeah.
I was mad. So I go, "Okay." I wrote it.
Did you write it on Walter Payton?
No, I can't remember. Actually, I can't believe what I wrote it on. I can't remember offhand. But I wrote it, and once I wrote it, she looked at it, and she says, "You know what?" She goes, "This is very good. You did a great job. And why was it so hard?" She goes, "It wasn't even that hard. Why did you do it?" I go, she said you wasted more time bickering about it and fighting about it in your head and not doing it than it took you how long to do it. So,
well, that's a good lesson to learn when you're a child. Hopefully as an adult you keep that in mind. Sure. It goes for everything. You could, if you have like a honey-do list around your house, and every Sunday during Bears season you have a reason not to do this 1 hour task that has been on the list for years.
I don't. And long and short of it with that is she gave it to me. She smiled knowing she won, and I still have it today.
Do you really?
I still have it.
Is it framed?
No, it was hung up on it. It has a little wear on it, but I still have it. So,
but it's Walter. So.
Yes, it's Walter Payton, and he's an idol. Nobody ever says anything bad about Walter Payton. You're listening to the Prepare to Repair show on 1340 WJOL. I'm your host, Plumber Steve, and Dave Hanley. And we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be back and talk more of Dave's home improvement and his new home. Welcome back to the Prepare to Repair show. I am your host, Plumber Steve, with RJ Graham Plumbing, and back with me is David Hanley with DH Imaging Group, and Dave is putting a video on himself, so there's nothing vain about that.
There's one on you too, Steve, for our Facebook, our Instagram, our website.
You need that because this kind of beauty, it only comes around so long.
You can't. The radio cannot contain how beautiful you are.
No, it
as
can't.
A human.
And you know what? We're not going to keep it. We're going to unleash it to the world.
Yes.
God help everybody. So, before the break, I told my story about my experience of being swindled in my quest for a Bears
by a teacher.
Picture. Yeah, that is a great educator. Her name was Miss O'Malley, and she was awesome. Bogan High School. She was phenomenal, and she got me. And you know what? A good teacher gets the best out of their students, and she did.
She taught you a lesson that you still talk about to this day,
yes.
And you shared with us. Let's call it 20 years later.
Yeah. Let's go with that. Yeah, go with that. But I mean, it's one of those things where it's like, that's what teachers make an impact, and she made an impact. And it wasn't a bad one. My thought was just, I'm like, oh, you got me. And it was like, I could have walked away and said no and been stubborn like a teenager, like like I probably was, but I was like, okay, but I wanted it, and she knew I wanted it, and she found a motivational tool,
right?
And it worked out really well. But
she'd probably be proud of you now that you got a radio show and you're.
I don't know about all that.
You never know. What if she's our biggest listener?
That would be awesome. That would be awesome.
Big fan of Steve now.
Well, again,
you never know.
Stranger things have happened. So, but getting back to that, now you were talking about your faucet before we went off on that little tidbit here. Now, was that faucet it wasn't a cheap purchase?
No, it was not. But, the bathroom was built on a budget, and you really can, redo, facelift a bathroom on a reasonable budget with, some creativity.
But it can also get out of hand if you don't know what you're doing.
So my sister is hired a contractor to redo her bathroom. And the contractor came highly recommended by a friend of a friend or something along those lines. And, so the contractor's been doing a fine job. It takes a while to get permits where she lives, and the permitting finally goes through, and they start doing all the renovations, and it needs some major plumbing work, and it needs a lot of work. And they get to the point where they're putting tile down finally after a few months of the project. They're putting subway tile down in the shower surround, and they started being out of level, the tile work, and they did the whole tile work up the whole tub surround, and it was a 1/4 inch off from side to side. A 1/4 inch.
Subway tile is, you have to be dead on. Actually, most tile you have to be. There is no room for error.
Only thing that there might be room for is some of those, more organic shaped tile, like a travertine or something like that, where you might be able to float a gap here or there.
Yeah, you can make some adjustments because your eye isn't taking you straight across like a straight line.
So she comes home from work and sees, that this is off, not a little bit.
Did she tilt her head to level it out or no?
She almost tilted the contractor's head, who wanted to try to leave it and tried to talk her into it. This is just fine. And they ended up having to take all the tile down. They were able to save a lot of the tile, apparently. That's what she told me, because maybe the mortar wasn't set enough or whatever. They were able to save a lot of the tile.
Maybe they didn't mortar it properly in the first place.
But they ended up having to take down all the the backing board behind it, too.
Right.
And it pushed the project back like well over a week, which... it's tough having a contractor in your house every day, for a month or something at a time. And it's certainly your main bathroom. It's tough having someone in there like that.
Now, this isn't a huge bathroom. This is probably a standard,
city bathroom.
Right. Okay. Now, here's the concern I would have with that. They thought that was okay. They thought it was okay to leave. And one thing that I say, and I tell my guys, and, this is what I, go with, is once you leave, nobody knows who you are, but your name is on that. That is what you left here. Your name is on that. You can't defend yourself. It's kind of like if you mispronounce something, you'd rather mispronounce it than misspell it, than write it down and misspell it. Because if you mispronounce it, only a couple people hear you. If you misspell it and write it down, everybody who reads it knows you didn't, that you did it. That's not an error you want to make. But
errors do happen.
Right.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
Right.
The problem is, as the contractor, as the professional on the job,
that's my point.
It's your standard that matters. Your standard should be higher than your than your customers.
Right. That's what I'm getting to. It's like you don't have a chance. With this, you have a chance to correct yourself and just or not do it. Like I said, if you write something and you don't proofread it, that's why I say if you misspell it and you don't proofread it, that looks bad on you because you didn't take the time. If you're allowing this to go and you're rushing through it and you don't have the quality control to say, hey, this is not meeting our company standard, then that's not good. And if this is their company standard, I would probably pump the brakes on this and say, this is not where I want to be. This is not the finished product I want.
Right. Well, my thought is that she hired a contractor.
Correct.
A general contractor to come in. He's not doing he may be overseeing the job, and he might be in charge of the drywall or, a few major projects in there, but he's not doing the tile work.
No.
He didn't do the electrical work. He didn't do the plumbing work. So he hired at least a couple of subcontractors to come in that my sister didn't have the opportunity to vet on any level.
Right. But he's responsible for that.
He's responsible for that. But if he is just trying to get a job done, which a lot of contractors, generally your job as a contractor is to get a job done.
Right.
So you can't necessarily wait for your number one subcontractor to be ready to come do tile work, right? So you may have to find someone else to come in and fill in the spot and keep the job moving. So if he didn't vet this tile subcontractor enough, right?
Right. Well, I mean, I guess, yeah, but here's, at the end of the day, you hired a contractor to do it. The contractor is responsible for the finished product. And then the contractor is going to hold whoever did whatever sub did the work, he's going to hold him accountable. So, in other words, there's a
chain of command.
And it all runs downhill. So that being said, you would think that the general contractor would be like, okay, this doesn't look right. This is going to have to be redone. It shouldn't be the homeowner saying that. It should be the GC doing that. And if the general contractor is okay with that, again, concerns.
Right.
You got concerns that if this is passing through two eyes and they're thinking this is okay, is there something up here? Are they that bad, or are they just rushing through the job?
Well, I think most people on some level do have to rush at some point on a job. So some contractors speed kills, but you got right now in today's society, like, everyone wants everything now.
Right.
And if you're 3 days behind on a job, it pushes your next job back 3 days, and your next job back.
Is that a concern to you as the homeowner?
No, but it's what the contractor has to deal with every day.
But here's the thing. As a homeowner, that's not my problem. Here's the thing. When it comes down to being a contractor, okay, I'm going to tell you this. When it comes down to being a contractor, and this is how it is in the contracting world. As a plumber, people love me. That's great. I have good reviews. I try to do my best for people. But I quote a famous philosopher. Her name was Janet Jackson.
I'm familiar with her work.
Yes. When she said in a song that she wrote where it says, "What have you done for me lately?"
Jam.
That is the way the world is. You're great, but what have you done for me lately? Mm-hmm. And when you have great reviews coming in. Those reviews mean nothing. Those other jobs mean nothing. What are you doing for me here? Because, like I said, when you leave, this is your name. So I am a stickler, and I've jumped all over making sure that the quality is there. And I've had, people that have been able to keep the quality up. I've had people that weren't able to, and unfortunately it didn't work out. Mm-hmm. But you have that quality. You have to have that, because this is a what have you done for me lately world. And like you said, whatever's going on with the contractor, you can expect the homeowner to be somewhat, somewhat flexible.
They have to. You have to be.
You can. But once you've taken that money and you've started their project and you've gutted their bathroom, the flexibility is gone. I want my time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
this is coming from a contractor here. You're the customer. I'm arguing for the customer, and you're arguing for the contractor.
It's funny. And the other thing is, like, as the contractor, like, once you take someone's money,
this is Bizarro Radio, is what it is.
It's like Bizarro World from Psycho.
Exactly. Yeah.
Once you take someone's money, you have to answer their call when they call.
Absolutely.
And that's hard. You could be in the middle of 10 other things, and you're not even thinking about that project yet. But that homeowner it's all he's thinking about all day.
Right.
And he wants to get a status update, and you have to pick up your phone or respond to that email or that text or, any way that customer wants to contact you.
I'll give you an example. With the rain we had, we do a lot of battery backup sump pumps.
Man, did you just have a weekend? Did you have a weekend?
We did. But here's the thing. We had battery backups that we put in. We go through the whole system with them. And when we do, I got customers that are like, yeah. I'm like, you didn't listen to a word I said.
Steve, that is 100% me. I feel attacked by that.
And so what happens is when the pump system does its job, or it actually, what I told them was going to happens, they don't remember a word I said. So here I spend, during these rains, I spend time on emails, phone calls, letting them know what happened. So now everything that I said that they didn't really, it wasn't really resonating with them, resonated. And I told them it was going to happen. I said, you're not listening to me. Yeah, I am. I go, no, you're not. I go, I know you're not. And they're just smiling. It's kind of like
you and the teacher from high school.
Yeah, you're not listening. But when the rain came, I go, remember what I told you, what this is going to do? This is why it's happening. Oh, so now it resonates because now they got the lesson, they got the information. Then the test came. The test came way far after the lesson.
Which kind of more like the lab. It's like you learn about it in class, and then now it's time to go into the back of the science class and turn on the Bunsen burners. And you're like, oh, this is what's going on here.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But me being there to answer those questions long after the sale is made, long after we've been there, that's what I'm there for. And when you're in the business of, again, what have you done for me lately? You have to be there. And when you are doing a remodel, your job doesn't end there, because your job in that remodel is as such where you finish it up. After you finish everything up and they're satisfied, you still have that punch list that you're going to have to go through, because there are things that nobody's perfect.
There's always some comebacks for some minor stuff.
Exactly. To get it to dial in perfect. And then once you get that and you get that clean bill, they are set to enjoy that bathroom. That's how it should be.
Should be built to last a long time.
Exactly. And if there's any issues along the way, that's when the homeowner should say, hey, we have an issue, we need to fix this. Whether it's the tile, whether it's,
slow drain, it could be a flickering light bulb.
Right. Yeah. Or just like, say, the placement of, we're going to want a toilet to go here. It looks like it may be too close to here. What do you think? You catch all these things, ask a lot of questions, say something. It's your house. You're stuck. You're going to have to live with the project or the product at the end. So, and again, when you're spending good money for it, like you said, that faucet you got wasn't cheap because of what you had to do, but it's the focal point. And a lot of these products that you're buying, unless you buy it off the rack or off the at the big box stores, these things are going to be pretty pricey.
Everything is expensive nowadays.
Right.
I mean, even the cheap stuff is expensive.
Right, but when you go to the box stores, they have some of your most common stuff there. So the most common is going to be the most reasonably priced, so to speak. But when you start wanting different things and special order, like all the stuff you see at at Ferguson, people are thinking maybe, or if you get people to say, oh, well, Ferguson's more expensive than the box stores. I would check item for item with what you're getting, and then you will see exactly. Compare apples with apples.
You have to compare apples with apples.
Because if you get a baseline faucet at Ferguson and a baseline faucet at the big box store, there's going to be a difference between the two as far as quality, but the pricing difference may be
minimal.
Yeah, maybe a few bucks more, maybe here and there. It depends on what it is, but not exactly minimal. Nothing that's going to say, hey, well, I'm turning around, I'm going and leaving. Right. But when you look at that some of the special order stuff that you got, they'll have it. But if you look on the website of the big box stores and they have to special order it, you're right around the same price. So when you're looking at all that, but again, when you're getting your parts, you're getting the products that you want, and just compare apples with apples what you're getting. And the thing is, as a homeowner, do your homework. Do your homework.
If I can just mention again, having someone who was a product expert at Ferguson was worth its weight in gold. It really was. As opposed to going to a big box store and you have to do all the research yourself off a little card in an aisle amongst a bunch of faucets, right?
If you don't know anything,
I don't know anything about faucets in a general sense. Maybe more than your average guy, but that doesn't say much at all, really, about.
Well, that's the key thing. I mean, when you look at it, if you really sit down, a lot of people really are taking on these projects that really don't know anything, and it's scary because you're watching some of the shows that you see, and it seems relatively straightforward, but these things can be stressful. These things can cause some financial hardship. They can cause a real deterioration of relationships if your projects are, if this gets out of hand.
Let me ask this, Steve. I mean, how often does a client call you and say, hey, I'd like to have my faucet replaced? And you're like, yeah, no problem. I can show up on Tuesday. And you get there, and the faucet is, let's say, off online, and it's super cheap, and it's essentially a piece of junk.
Right.
Do you say, hey, I'll put in whatever you want, but this thing is going to fail. This thing could fail tomorrow. We have no way of, this thing stinks.
Well, we're going to take a quick break here on WJOL, the Prepare to Repair show on 1340 WJOL with Plumber Steve. That's me. And
I'm Dave.
And he's Dave Hanley with DHI Imaging. I'm going to answer that. Welcome back to the Prepare to Repair show right here on WJOL 1340. Back with me is Dave Hanley with DH Imaging Group. And before the break, you asked me a question regarding faucets. People are buying their faucets, and what do I think when I come on site and we see a faucet that is,
let's say, less than good quality?
That's exactly where I was going to go with it. Honestly, I tell them right off the bat what it is. Because when you put these faucets in that they get online on certain, from some of these sites, the problem is it may work for a little while, but then once they fail, you can't get parts. So when you can't get parts, you can't fix it. Now this thing becomes, maybe last 2 years.
Now, a lot of faucets can be fixed with a simple O-ring here or there, right?
Well, a lot of them are cartridge-based. They have ceramic cartridges. It depends. It's just being able to get it. But also identifying the faucet. And if it's not made here and it's made overseas, are you going to be able to get those parts? And what happens if it does, say, if it works great for 4 years? A lot can happen in 4 years where they discontinued the model. They discontinued the line.
Sure.
And now they don't have any parts.
Yeah, and if you're buying something on sale online, that could be a closeout. That could be the end of a run. It could be any number of things.
Exactly. And if you can't trace it and you can't get parts for it, that's when you buy something. One, I'm going to buy a brand that I know. I'm going to buy a brand that I can get parts for. And this way, I'll get the durability that I want. And a lot of people think it's like, again, it's fueled by distrust of contractors. Well, I'm going to get what I want because if I buy something that he gets, it's going to be more expensive.
Yeah, God forbid your plumber makes an extra $25 off of buying the faucet and reselling it to you. God forbid.
A lot of people are but the thing is to their defense, a lot of people, that fear is reasonable because there has been some bad plumbers that have done that. And since you bring up products like that, and as far as faucets and everything, I have a question for the audience, and that question would be, what is driving you to buy these particular products from the online vendors? I mean, obviously it's going to be the appearance of some of the, what are you looking for? I mean, because if you're looking for durability, you're really not going to be able to know these brands. Absolutely. You're just going to see pure beauty. And that's great, but again, beauty is only...
right. Yeah, beauty is only one part of it.
Exactly.
Quality. You cannot tell the quality of something from online. So I ended up buying... I looked for a vanity for my remodel. It had to have been 5 months.
Right.
I couldn't find what I was looking for. I ended up finding it. I on online website.
Right.
And so I ordered this thing, and it came within 5 minutes. I mean, literally, it came super fast.
Amazon world.
The vanity top was broken. So I bought the wood base and the vanity top, and I opened this thing up, and the top was broken.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, what do? You email the company, you email the website, and within 5 minutes sending an email, they just send me a refund.
Okay.
Yeah, fine. But I'm still without a vanity.
Right.
Right? And there was
the very reason why you bought it.
The reason why I bought it is I needed a vanity. So now I'm back to square one. And there's like, oh, yeah, just, throw it away. It's like, what does that tell you about the quality of everything about this company or the quality of the product I bought, where they don't even care enough? It's not even worth it for them to take it as a return. They just, you do whatever you want and throw it away.
Mm-hmm.
So I ended up ordering a custom top for it, which, as you know, it makes the budget-friendly vanity that I purchased now far more expensive. It's not the nicest quality piece at all, but it got the job done.
Right.
But I had to do so much more work by buying
to save a little bit of money.
Right. But really, what the convenience of shopping for it online was what I do it in the evening when I have free time to shop.
Right. And that's what I was kind of getting to. It's like, what is your motivator on it when you're looking to buy these products? And the same thing goes for, you're looking for people, or, what is influencing your decision and in choosing people? How do you find these people? Just where are you looking to find these people? Same thing goes for products. How do you find them? What is your measuring stick on whether or not you buy it? Where are you looking for it? And what is the how much of your what's influencing your plan of your search? What's driving it?
As a one might describe you, Steve, as a plumbing nerd. You may have heard that before, but as a marketing nerd, these questions are what rattle around in my head all day long. And I would love to hear some response from some of your listeners. It
transcends business. I mean, because it's these are things that we can find out. We gather this information. We can apply it to get to help out as much as we can. So send us over a text at 708-964-5500. Give us, how are you finding your products?
Actually, you know what we'll do, Steve?
What's that?
We'll post on Facebook, and we'll ask our listeners.
Right.
Tell us how you find people, where you find people, how you find products. We want to know.
Right. And I mean, what's motivating you to use these particular avenues that you are searching and you are locating? I mean, because different people are, I like to go physical and do this. Like yourself, I like to shop at night when I can, when I get home, and I can shop at the convenience of my, computer. But also it's what's influencing you as far as what products you buy and why are you getting those. And I mean, it's just all those things come into play because those really have a huge impact on your experience. The people who install it, the people who are getting you, taking the products that you have and putting them in and getting you that end product that you're looking for.
Well, the thing is that, you're the one that gets hauled over the coals by your client's decisions on what they purchase at the end of the day.
Because they never look at the app, they never look at the product. Yeah. They're looking at the install because if it's not working right, maybe it's not the the right product.
It couldn't be that it's made overseas for pennies.
Well, a lot of things are made like that. That's the thing that's not good anymore. But and also too, here's the one thing I wanted to bring up too. And if there's anybody that we should have on the show, that they let us know. If there's anybody or any particular trade or anything out there that you haven't heard from, that we haven't had on the show touched on, that you would like to know more about. You want more information about, send us a text. Hey, I'd like to hear you talk to so-and-so. I want to hear you look at this trade. I'm real influenced. So.
I'd love one of our listeners to say, hey, I know this great contractor. He's a bright guy. He would love to be on the show. He knows all kinds of stuff.
Right. Oh, I want to see.
We'd love to talk to him.
I want to see the best of the best.
Hopefully, I'm here, but you'll love to talk to him.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. I want to talk to him because the reality is with all this is you want to get as much information. You know, the show I try to make is a forum to give all this information that we can, so people are more educated in tackling some of the projects they're going to do, or even relay that information to family members that can help them get the end product that they want. And when you get people that are really good at what they do, a lot of these things that we talk about don't even come up. Because when you get the best of the best people, you're getting the best project, the best product, because it's moving along. They're coming to you because they know this is what's going to happen. This is the who, what, when, where, how, and why we're going to do this. Your bathroom is going to look like this. This is how it's going to look. This is what you should expect to look like. Okay? I shouldn't say, well, your floor is off and this is off, so everything else is going to be off. No. I mean, if we have to compensate for certain things being done so you get the product that you need done. I'm not going to come to you with that because, honestly, that's what you have me here for. At the end of the day, you're paying for somebody to give you the product that you want.
Yes, you're paying for the contractor to do the things that you don't understand and make, right? I mean, Is that basically it?
You're paying for them to do something, to do a job. Exactly. And if you knew how to do it yourself to answer all those questions, you would not have them. That's pretty much that. So, I mean, when you really look at that and you boil it down, is you want someone that's just going to come in and do exactly what you ask them to do.
Yeah, you do exactly what they say they're going to do.
Exactly. You didn't ask them to do anything more than what they said they can do.
Right.
That's the key thing about this. When things go sideways like this, I didn't ask you to do anything more than what you said you can do. There's no reason for animosity or friction. I just asked you to do what you said you can do. That's it. And for some reason, that gets lost in there. So, and what we're going to do is we're going to finish up here on one thing that we talked about during the, and I say this because of the rain and you buying or you're selling your house, is seepage. Now,
I live with it.
Right. A lot of people that have houses with unfinished basements, I've seen them where they've lived with it. They've lived with seepage on it. And you asked the question, what do you do? Yeah, so I'm selling my house, and I am selling it at a very reasonable price. Okay. And my thought is, do I spend the money to fix the seepage, or do I make it very clear to whoever's buying my house that this is, an issue that you can live with just fine, or you can fix? What should I feel like I have to do? Well, what I would do personally is I would have it assessed to see what's the cause of it? Where am I getting the seepage? What is the cause of this seepage? And what are the remedies for this? Now, there are some basements that they don't have very tall ceilings, and that they're never going to be able to be finished. So it's one of those things where you just want to stop the seepage, but that's as far as you're going to go with it. So it's not going to be anything that anybody's going to take that to do anything else. And there's some that obviously they can be, finished out, and they're going to take it to the next level. So it's going to be a next level of protection on that. But realistically, I would check to see, why am I getting water? First and foremost, why am I getting water? This house was built, and I didn't have water when it was built. What changed? Why am I getting water? And it could be any number of things. It could be a gutter downspout that's not going far enough away from the house. It could be concrete that has settled, and instead of it being pitched away from the house, now it's pitched towards the house. It could be any number of things that are doing it. That's why an assessment is important. And this way you can, if it's something that is an easy fix, you can do that. But you still have to disclose that you had gotten seepage in the past. And that's something that a homeowner can decide. Do they want to take it to the next level of repairing these things? And also, the other thing that comes into play is you're buying an old house. Old house, that character means it has age. It's going to have some issues.
Patina.
Yes, you're going to have to do some things with it. And most reasonable homeowners know, if they know everything coming through the door, they can make a really, a real sound decision on what they want to do from that point on. Knowing it's the devil, So that's something that I would just, have it checked out and say, this is what I found out, and let them, their home inspector, verify it on their end.
Great idea.
That's what I would do. Dave, it was great having you on the show.
Oh, my pleasure.
How does one get a hold of Dave?
The best way to get a hold of me from this radio show is to go to preparetorepair.com, and you can see DH Imaging Group on the partners of the show. And from there, you can find me on Facebook. You can find me on Instagram. That's the best way to get a hold of me, is through the Prepare to Repair website.
And you handle all sorts of marketing.
We do all kinds of marketing, from business cards to vehicle wraps to websites to promotional videos to radio shows.
Awesome. Great having you on here. I want to thank everybody for listening, and also do head out to Ferguson Supply for all your kitchen, bath, lighting, and appliance needs. Your dream kitchen or bathroom is as close as Tinley Park. I want to thank everybody for listening. We will see you back here next.